Today we're going to move on to section 3.5 and extend the standard algorithm. Now you'll notice that the problem that we have first, 283 times 352, is a 3-digit number times a 3-digit number. And the most that we've multiplied by so far has been a 2-digit number. So what we're going to do now is see what happens when it becomes a 3-digit number. And then from there you'll be able to see what would happen every time we add another number that we're multiplying. So let's start by putting this problem into our lines so we can separate the place values and make it easier for us. We have 283 times 352. Now, if you need a multiplication table, remember that you should get one because it makes these problems go faster. And when you can do the problems more smoothly, you start to understand them better. Okay, so just like in the past, we're going to start by multiplying by the 2, okay? When we multiply by the 2, we're going to have 2 times 3, 2 times 8, and then 2 times 2. You have to make sure that you're going in order from one to the next, okay? After that, we're going to multiply by the 5, and that will do 5 times 3, 5 times 8, 5 times 2. And then after that, we're going to multiply by the 3, where we'll do 3 times 3, 3 times 8, 3 times 2. Since we are multiplying 3 times, that means we are going to get 3 sets of numbers for our multiplications. We're going to get what we get when we multiply by 2, when we multiply by 5, and when we multiply by 3. So I'm going to leave those there this time just so you know that we have to fill in those boxes as we go. All right, so let's start with 2 times 3. I know that 2 times 3 is 6. And 2 times 8 is 16. I'm going to carry the 1 above the 2. And then 2 times 2 is 4, plus the 1 is 5. So I have multiplied by the 2. I no longer need the 2, and I no longer need the number that's above. Remember to cross out what you don't need anymore so you don't get confused by it. Now we're going to start multiplying by the 5. Since we're multiplying by a number in the tens place, okay, the 5 is in the tens place, that means we have to add a 0 in the ones place because everything we multiply is going to be 10 times bigger. Don't forget that placeholder. I do 5 times 3 is 15. I put the 5 in the first place value that I have open. And then I know that since I just did 5 times 3, the 1 of the 15 goes directly next to it above the 8. I do 5 times 8, which is 40, and then I add 1, which makes it 41. So I put the 1 in my place value, and the 4 goes 1 over from what I just multiplied. And then I do 5 times 2, which is 10, and then I add the 4, which is 14. I put the 4 here, and then I see that there isn't a number that I'm multiplying by in the next place, so that 1 can come straight down. Now I'm going to cross off everything I don't need anymore. I don't need the 5, I don't need the 1, don't need the 4, and then this one as well. Okay, so the last spot, the last number that I'm multiplying by is this 3 in the hundreds place. So here's the only new thing. Since we're multiplying by a number in the hundreds, our answer is going to be 100 times bigger. So instead of putting 1 0 like we did with the tens, we have to put 2 zeros so that our answer starts in the hundreds place. So now I can start. I have 3 times 3, which is 9. Put it in my first place value that's open. 3 times 8 is 24. Put the 4 down. And the 2 carries over from the last number I just multiplied by, so the 2 goes above this 2. And then 3 times 2 is 6, plus the 2 is 8. Now I have all of the numbers that are multiplied, So what I can do is exactly what we've done in all of the other problems. I can take those numbers and add them together. So 6 plus 0 is 6. 6 plus 5 plus 0 is 11. Carry the 1. Remember that's there. 5 plus 1 plus 9, plus I carried 1. So 9 and 1 is 10, and 5 is 15, and 1 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9, and 8 plus 1 is 9. So I have 99,616. So really the only new thing we have is the fact that when we multiply by a number in the hundreds, we are going to be adding 2 zeros instead of adding 1 0 like we do in the tens. You have to be careful with your place values. You have to be careful with where you're putting your regrouped number. Take your time and you should do fine. Make sure your place values are lined up. Okay, let's try another one. We'll do this one together too. And then after that, we will do 2 on our own. Okay, so you may have seen a different problem there real quick. Sorry about that. We're going to do 527 times 405. Couple things we want to remember. When multiplying in the tens place, you add 1 0. And then when multiplying by the hundreds place, or with the number in the hundreds place, you add 2 zeros. Remember that this is because when you're multiplying by the number in the tens, that product is 10 times bigger. And when you're multiplying by the number in the hundreds, that product is 100 times bigger. Therefore, you move it over 1 space, and then you move it over 2 spaces. So let's do this one together. I'm just going to talk through it, and just follow along as we go. We have 527 times 405. Let's start with the 5. I know that 5 times 7 is 35, so I put the 3 here, and I carry the 5 there, and I carry the 3 to the next place value. 5 times 2 is 10, plus the 3 is 13, and I carry the 1 over to the next place value. 5 times 5 is 25, plus the 1 is 26. The 2 would carry to the next place value, but there's no number there to multiply, so that 2 can come straight down. I am going to cross off everything I don't need now. I multiply by the 5. I no longer need the 3, the 1, or that 2. I know now that I'm going to start multiplying by the number in the tens place, so I'm multiplying by this 0. So since it's the tens, I'm going to add 1 0 to make everything 10 times bigger. And then I start through. 0 times 7 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 5 is 0. So there was no extra work that went along with that. Those were all zeros. Still want to write that line, though, because you would worry about the place values if you don't follow through with the steps. Last, I'm going to multiply by the number in the hundreds place, the 4. Since it's in the hundreds, my answer has to be 100 times bigger. So I have to add 2 zeros before I do that multiplication. Now I can actually solve. I do 4 times 7 is 28. I put the 8 in the place value, and the 2 goes 1 place value over from what I just multiplied. So there's my 28. Then I multiply the 4 times the 2, which is 8, and then I add 2, which makes it 10. So I put the 0 here, and I carry the 1 place value over from the last one I had. And then I do the 5 times the 4, which is 20, and I add 1, which is 21. So I put the 1 in the next place value, and the 2 goes over to the next place value, but there's no number to multiply there, so the 2 can go straight down. Now that I have all of those numbers, I can add my numbers. 5. Okay, so let's move on to the last 2 examples. What I want you to do right now is I want you to try 5,273 times 450 on your own, and then come back and see how you did. Make sure when you come back that you're checking every line that you multiplied by to see where you made a mistake if you made one. Okay? Go ahead, try it out, and then come back and pay attention. Okay, welcome back. Let's start by multiplying by the 0. You know 0 times anything is 0. So 0 times 3 is 0, 0 times 7 is 0, 0 times 2 is 0, and 0 times 5 is 0. Now I'm going to move on to multiplying by the 5. Since the 5 is in the tens, it has to be 10 times bigger, so don't forget to put that 0 place value holder. Then I start with 5 times 3, which is 15, and I carry the 1 space over from the 3 I just multiplied by. 5 times 7 is 35, plus the 1 is 36. Put the 6 down there, and I carry the 3 over next to the 7 that I just multiplied by. 5 times 2 is 10, plus the 3 is 13, and I carry the 1 over to the next number. And then 5 times 5 is 25, plus the 1 is 26. And I can put all of 26 because if I carry the 2 over, there won't be any other numbers to multiply by. Then I can get rid of the 5 and all of the numbers on top so I don't get confused. Sorry, I forgot to get rid of the 0 before. Now we're going to move on to multiplying by the 4. Since the 4 is in the hundreds place, I have to add 2 zeros. 5 times 3 is 12. I carry the 1 space over from what I just multiplied by. 4 times 7 is 28, plus the 1 is 29. Carry the 2 over next to the number I just multiplied by. 4 times 2 is 8, plus the 2 is 10. So I put the 0, and I carry the 1 over to the next number I multiplied by. 5 times 4 is 20, plus the 1 is 21. And I could put the 2 over there, but there's no other numbers to multiply by, so I can put all of 21. Now I'm going to add my place values. I have 0, 5 and nothing is 5, 6 and 2 is 8, 9 and 3 is 12, carry the 1, 6 and 1 is 7, 2 and 1 is 3, and then we have 2. So we have a number that's all the way in the millions, 2,372,850. Now, if you didn't get this correct, you need to look at each product line to see where you went wrong. Look here, did you have all zeros? Look in the second line. Did you have these specific numbers in your second line? Look in your third line. Did you have these specific numbers in your third line? Then you can figure out which number you multiplied incorrectly by. If all of those are right, but your answer is wrong, that means you added wrong. So you have to be careful in every step. All right, so let's try the very last one on your own again, and then come back and watch the process and see how you did. Okay, welcome back. Let's see how you did. We're going to start by multiplying by the 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Put the 4 there, carry the 2 over to the next number. 6 times 0 is 0, plus the 2 is 2. 6 times 3 is 18. There's nothing to add on that one, but I do have to carry the 1 over. And then 6 times 7 is 42, plus the 1 is 43. I can carry the 4 over, but there isn't another number to multiply by, so I can put the 4 in the next place value. Done with the 6, done with this 2, that 1, and that 4. Now we're going to move on and multiply by the tens place. Since I'm multiplying by the tens, I have to make my answer 10 times bigger. So I put that 0 in. And I start. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 3 is 3. And 1 times 7 is 7. No regrouping in that one because we were multiplying by 1. And it's actually the same number we started with, just 10 times bigger. All right, so we don't need the 1 anymore. And we had no regrouped numbers, so I don't need to worry about that. Let's now multiply by the 4. The 4 is in the hundreds place, so my answer needs to be 100 times bigger. Therefore, I add 2 zeros. 4 times 4 is 16. I carry the 1 one space over from the 4. 4 times 0 is 0, plus the 1 is 1. Nothing to regroup. 4 times 3 is 12, and the 1 has to go over from the 3, which I just multiplied by. And 7 times 4 is 28, plus the 1 is 29. I put the 9 in the place value. I carry the 2 over, but there isn't another number to multiply by, so I can just put the 2 in my answer. And now I'm going to add my digits together. I get 4, plus nothing is 4. 4 and 2 is 6. 8 and 6 is 14, carry the 1. 1 and 3 and 3 and 1 is 6, and then 7 and then 8, so I put the 8. 7 and 2 and 4, 9 and 4 is 13, carry the 1. 9 and 1 is 10, carry the 1. 2 and 1 is 3. So when I put my commas in, I see that the answer, product, is 3,038,464. All right, so we are going to try this on our own now. I wish you luck. Take your time. Keep your place values lined up. Use your multiplication table if you need it. Good luck.